Good morning. This is Father Stephen Kelly from St. John's Church in Detroit. We're continuing our series of daily morning meditations, where we generally look at one or another lessons that are assigned for morning or evening prayer, what is known as the Daily Office Lectionary. And I thought today we'd take a look at the lesson from evening prayer, because it's our last lesson for a while from the book Maccabees. Remember, we mentioned that the book of Maccabees is one of what is known as the Deuterocanonical, or the apocryphal books. These are books of the Bible, kind of written in between Old Testament times and New Testament times, and are considered canonical by the Roman Catholic, the Orthodox, and the Anglican communions. But for some reason, at the Reformation, when churches decided to make the Bible the ultimate authority, they removed books from the Bible that they decided were not authoritative. So go figure. But they're important because they help us to understand that time period during when the Greeks had invaded and taken over, and unlike the Romans, who were really good oppressors, if there can be such a thing, who allowed for the practice of religion as long as you paid your taxes and didn't try to have an uprising against Caesar. They let you do whatever you wanted religiously. The Greeks tried to completely snuff out Jewish culture and religion, the worship and the covenant with Yahweh, the living God. And so we had the book of Maccabees is about the rebellion against those who had gone apostate and had allowed basically for the temple to become a place of pagan worship. But we're now in chapter 4, beginning at verse 52, and by now the Maccabees have gone ahead, the family and all of the followers have gone ahead and reclaimed the temple. And so this part is actually really good news. Now on the 25th day of the 9th month, which is called the month Keslu, in the 148th year, they rose up betimes in the morning, and offered sacrifice according to the law upon the new altar of burnt offerings which they had made. Look, at what time and what day the heathen had profaned it, even in that it was dedicated with songs and cisterns and harps and cymbals. Then all the people fell upon their faces, worshipping and praising the God of heaven, who had given them good success. And so they kept the dedication of the altar 8 days, and offered burnt sacrifices with gladness, and sacrificed the sacrifice of deliverance and praise. They decked also the forefront of the temple with crowns of gold, and with shields, and with the gates and the chambers they renewed, and hanged doors upon them. Thus was there very great gladness among the people, for that the reproach of the heathen was put away. Moreover, Judas and his brethren, with the whole congregation of Israel, ordained that the days of the dedication of the altar should be kept in their season from year to year by the space of 8 days, from the 25th day of the month, Keslu, with the mirth and gladness. At that time they also builded up the Mount Sion with high walls and strong towers round about, lest the Gentiles should come and tread it down, as they had done before. And they set there a garrison to keep it, and fortified Bethsura to preserve it, that the people may have a defense against Idumea. Okay, so the good news is that even though the temple had been desecrated and that the idols had been set up, and that it talked about the bushes were growing up among the cracks and all that kind of stuff, this first wave, now remind you there are 4 Book of Maccabees, so there's a lot more adventure that is to come with the reclaiming of the covenant, the reassertion of the covenant for the people of the Jews in that region. But the most important central focus of that Jewish identity and worship, of course, was the temple. And so the book of Maccabees gets right to the first things first. Let's get back the temple. Let's get proper worship going. Make the sacrifices and the offerings that God had commanded for the people of that original covenant. And so having done first things first, they then go there to continue to work on the reclaiming of the culture and the faith of the people of the Jews. So I highly recommend the book Maccabees. And for those who think, well, how would anybody else know anything about Maccabees? Because it's not in my Bible that I bought at the bookstore, because most American King James Bibles do not have the Deuterocanonical books. The actual King James itself was translated for use in the Church of England, and the original King James actually has the Deuterocanonical books. So this is a prayer book with the authorized version, which is the King James version, and yes, it has the Deuterocanonical books. But anyway, so I enjoy. Go ahead and read on your own through the book of Maccabees, because tomorrow the evening prayer will jump into the book of Daniel. And I hope that your Thursday is full of blessings.